Hello friends! Today we're going to read the story Big Al. It's about a fish that really wants to make friends, but he seems to be having a little trouble. Let's read together and see what happens with Big Al and how he is able to change things around. Big Al is written by Andrew Clements and is illustrated by Yoshi. It's the story of fish under the sea. And Big Al, I believe he's a rockfish. And he looks a little different than other fish that are around him. Let's see what's gonna happen. Big Al. Our story takes us deep under the water, into the wide ocean, with all of these fish. Big Al. In the wide blue sea, there was a very friendly fish named Big Al. You could not find a nicer fish. But Big Al was also very scary. I wonder if he really is scary or if he just looks scary. Let's see. Other fish seemed to have at least one friend. Some had many, but Big Al had none. He did not really blame the other fish. How could he expect little fish to trust a great big fish with eyes and skin and teeth like his? So, Big Al was lonely and cried big salty tears into the big salty sea. Friends, would you be a friend with Big Al? But Big Al really wanted friends, so he worked at it. First, he tried wrapping himself up with seaweed. He thought it was a great disguise, but no one else did. Who wants to stop and talk to a floating plant that has big, sharp teeth? There he is, all wrapped up in seaweed. Then he thought that if he puffed himself up around, the other fish would laugh and see how clever and silly he could be. All they saw was how big he could be, and they stayed clear. Oh no, the fish seem afraid of Big Al. He's blowing himself up like a pufferfish. Very early one morning, Big Al went down to the bottom and flopped and wiggled himself into the sand until he was almost covered up. He looked much smaller. When the other fish came near, Big Al talked and joked with them and had a delightful time. But then, but then one scratchy little grain of sand got stuck in his gills, and he sneezed. When the clouds of sand cleared away, all of the fish were gone. No, friends. Do you think that Big Al should have to change himself to make friends? Big Al even changed his color one day so he could look like he belonged to a school of tiny fish passing by. He bubbled along with them for a while, laughing and feeling like he was just one of the crowd. But he was so big and clumsy that when all of the fish started to the left and then quickly back to the right, Big Al just plodded straight ahead. He went bumping and thumping right into the other little fish. Before he could even say, "Excuse me," they were gone, and he was all alone again, sadder than ever. Big Al is camouflaging. He is taking on the colors of the fish around him so that he can blend in. But I wonder, should Big Al really need to change himself to make friends? Or should they just love him for being himself? Let's see. Just when Big Al was starting to be sure that he would never, ever have a single friend, something happened. He was floating along sadly, watching some of the smaller fish and wishing they would come closer. As he watched, a net dropped down silently from above, and in an instant, they were caught. Oh no. Look at Big Al. He's watching as all the other little fish are caught in a net. What do you think Big Al might do? Big Al forgot all about being lonely, and he forgot all about being sad. His eyes bulged out bigger and rounder than ever, and with a mighty flip of his tail, he opened his mouth and charged straight at the net. The net was strong, but Big Al was stronger. He ripped right through it, and all the little fish rushed out through the hole. Look, Big Al bit right through the net, so that all of the fish could swim free. But when Big Al tried to turn around and go out of the hole, he got tangled up in the net. He was stuck. The net went higher and higher towards the bright surface of the sea, and then the little fish watched Big Al as he disappeared above them. When the little fish were able to speak again, all they talked about was the huge, wonderful fish that had saved them. How great to be free, but what a shame that the big fellow had been captured. Oh no. What do you think might happen to Big Al? Now he's all tangled up in the net. Just then there was a tremendous crash splashing above them, and the small fish dashed away. Was it the net again? Not at all. It was Big Al. Those fishermen took one look at him and threw him right back into the ocean. They couldn't be bothered with a fish that looked like Big Al, so they threw him right back. And now there is one huge, puffy, scary, fierce-looking fish in the sea who has more friends than anyone else, Big Al. And here's a picture of Big Al and all of his friends. And that, friends, is the end of our story. So Big Al ended up having lots and lots of friends. He helped them, and they all appreciated what he had done for them and came to love Big Al. And so he had lots and lots and lots of friends. But more important than that, friends, I always want you to remember that you should not have to change yourself to make friends. Your friends should love you for who you are. All right? Until next time, take care.